Hey FlossTube, it is Sunday, September 9th. Welcome to Annette's Acre. I'm Annette. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. It's been about 6 weeks, I guess, since my last update. My hoped for quiet August didn't turn out that way. We'll talk about that. But we're here to do update of what I've worked on and finished. I have finishes and some other odds and ends of stuff that I've now got going on. So this is going to be a whole gamut of fun today. So I usually watch my previous video. In this case, I watched my last update and I watched the short vlog that I did. And just to make sure, see if there was anything that I was like, oh yeah, we'll talk about this next time, or usually it's just to laugh at whatever I said I was planning to do, because it just doesn't, as soon as I say it, I have no desire to actually do it. So it just seems to work out that way. And so last night I was watching it, and at the end I'm like, oh yeah, August should be quiet, so I should be able to get all this stuff done. Yeah. That was the case for the first couple weeks, but then the second half of August just completely fell apart. I did actually get quite a bit accomplished for the time that I was at home. A couple days after I had filmed that video, I got a note from one of my bosses. I have a couple, asking me, or basically saying, "Hey, can you go to Denver the week of the 20th?" for an Informatica thing. Informatica is one of the software tools that I work with. And I'm like, sure. So I actually spent from the 20th to the 23rd, Monday to Thursday, in north of the Denver area. It was a conference. Conferences are always highly scheduled, at least the ones that I go to. So no time to actually do anything other than go to the various sessions, go to whatever dinner or event is planned, sleep, get up, start over, right? So I didn't get a chance to do anything. I didn't get to visit the stitching store that I know is there, and or see anybody other than the people that I was at the conference with. But then came home on Thursday, and we had, Mike and I had planned for his birthday on that Friday the 24th to go to San Francisco for the weekend. So I came home on Thursday, flew home on Thursday, uneventful, got up on Friday, went back to the airport, we flew to San Francisco and spent the weekend. Now, we were in the city proper and near Fisherman's Wharf, and I did not rent a car. So I didn't go to Needle in a Haystack. We didn't see anybody. We were simply there for his birthday and to enjoy things. So we actually spent a lot of time walking Fisherman's Wharf and going to the Maritime Museum and Ghirardelli, and we just had a really relaxing weekend, which was something that we both kind of needed. However, a couple days before we left, and while I was still in Colorado, same boss said, "Oh, by the way, I need you to go to Indiana next week for a presentation." So flew home on Sunday, uneventful, great. Got to stay home a day on Monday, which was nice. And then Tuesday, got back on a plane to go to Indiana. Phoenix to Indiana is not an easy thing. You have to go through Chicago. There was bad weather. I will not bore you with that travel story, but oh my gosh, I have not had that bad of a business trip in years, where flights were canceled and redirected, and I ended up renting a car and driving 3 hours, and it was, oh boy. The presentation went well, but again, it was a very focused here. I was only there for a couple of days. The good news is I come home Thursday, and it was completely uneventful coming home. I will say my initial instinct was to avoid that airline and go with my usual favorite airline, which is Southwest. And I did not do that. I will not be ignoring my gut feeling for any future business travel. So the good news is I have no more business travel scheduled for the rest of the year. That will absolutely change. But for now, the only other stuff I've got is at the end of the month, I'm going to an event in Louisville for an author event. We'll actually talk about that later when I get to the books that I've been reading. So So that was the end of August. It was way more hectic than what I anticipated. But I did manage to get some things accomplished. So I know that's what you're here for. So let's talk about that. So the first thing is I finished some stuff. I finished my Medieval Santa, Mill Hill Medieval Santa. So I finished my dude and put his beard on. I haven't obviously finished him, but I finished all the pieces, so he's all done. I think I might have worked on him when I was in Denver. See, I don't even remember at this point, and I'm not going to pull up my spreadsheet. So anyway, finished Medieval Santa. So of course there was another one started, which I didn't get much done, so I'm not going to show that today, but put it over here. All right. I also, here's his picture. I also decided I was going to finish Yellow Submarine, Blackbird Designs. Now, here's the finish. So here it is. It's on Winter Solstice Joblin from Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And I love the blue and with the yellow, and it's just gorgeous. However, I had to make a couple of thread changes because the original threads just weren't showing up on the fabric. So if you notice, let's see the little, I don't know, you'll probably be able to see it better, but see the little wake lines from the submarine? See, it shows up way better on camera. The vine at the top was supposed to be in that color, and I started stitching it and I couldn't see it, so I changed it out to another green. I think it's baby spinach, and I like that much better. So, and then I also had to change the anchor over here to the lighter color and the numbers. So, but all in all, it's good. I'm happy. It's done. I'm even happier about that. So it'll be headed to the framer soon. The other thing that happened that I wasn't particularly planning on was I got sucked into Christine from Stitch All the Things, her Peace on Earth stitch along, which started the first week of August. So it's a carriage samplings design, and I actually finished it. I stitched it pretty much straight through. So here it is. It's Peace on Earth. This is on 36 count Picture This Plus Heroic. And see, it's pretty. Give you a nice little close-up. It's kind of a mix of the called for flosses, and then I substituted some of them because I decided to do this like the day before it started, and I didn't want to order stuff, and Lord knows I got plenty of floss. So I got about half and converted about half, and I did some DMC. I just did some other conversion, but anyway, I like it. It came out really well. It went pretty quickly, I must say, and I rather enjoyed it. My little cardinal is a very fall-looking cardinal. He's a little more coppery but that's okay. He's cool. So that was finished as part of the month of August. So that was all my finishes for August. I did work on some other stuff. So the first thing, of course, I kept up with my Prickly But Cute stitch along. Now this is showing both, oops, upside down. So in my Jessie Marie Does Stuff Turns 5 blog for the Sal, I had stitched Sophia Saguaro for the Sal, and then September's cactus is George the Globe cactus down here. So, and I also finished off the border. So now I'm truly probably a day from finishing this when the final cactus comes out in October. So, or, you know, whenever Rachel brings it out. So I'm really happy with this. I do have to decide what I'm going to do about their eyes. If you notice, my very first cactus, she has little French, let's see if I can get up there. She has little French knots in her eyes, and so does the second one, right? Little French knots. However, I didn't do that for any of the others. And I can't decide if I'm going to go back and put in all the little French knots, or if I'm going to rip out the two that I did, because it's just a highlight, and I haven't decided yet. I do have some beads I need to add, but that won't take very long. So if you have a thought, or if you have an opinion on the French knots, please share it below. I'd appreciate that, because I keep going back and forth. I like French knots. I have no problem doing them, so that is not a contributing factor to the decision. So I'm totally good with the French knot. The other thing that I have kept up on is, of course, my Into the Jungle stitch along from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. This is on Shale Lugana. So here's where it is now. Since you last saw this in my update video, I've added the chameleon, and I've added the bats for September, and I've started on the bottom border. Start on the bottom border. I'm gonna hold it still. The bottom border is about halfway across. So again, 3 more months and that'll be done. The next one, the next animal will come here. So I've already got the box done. And I still have very friendly needle miners. Okay. So that one. There was another stitch along in August that started. Oh no, it was the, my last update was on the last Sunday in July, which for the Friday Off the Grid group on Facebook and with Caroline of Off the Grid Needle Arts is Sunday High Tea, where we're supposed to celebrate a new start. And I talked about this in the video of what I was going to start, which was hands-on design scarology. Squareology, nevermore, scarology. There's a lot of words on there. And I did start it and put a couple of days into it. And so here it is. It's on Color and Cotton Spellbook. Here's where we're at. So not halfway, but you know, not bad. It was just a couple days. Just a couple days progress. So that will come back out in October. It's obviously perfect for dark October stitching. But I am using not only the Color and Cotton fabric, but also Color and Cotton floss for the piece, with the exception of the white. The white is just white. So I'm using all Color and Cotton threads. Just seemed appropriate. So that was a new start at the end of July. Another piece that got a couple of days work was my alphabet sampler. My Australian Ali's alphabet sampler. It's a lot of A's. So here's what it will look like when it is complete. And this was a chart that the lovely Ali of Ali's Stitching Studio in Australia, when she finished it, she sent it to me. So I previously only had the pink alphabet done across the top, and so I now have two more rows done. This is on 40 count Verdal even weave using DMC. This was my alternative plan for the Jessie Marie sale, because letters. So it got a couple days. And then the last WIP that I have to show you, I did not work on in August. Those 2 weeks of travel, other than the Santa that I think I worked on when I was in Colorado, I didn't take any stitching with me. I don't think I took any to San Francisco, and I definitely didn't take any to Indiana. I worked on something else, which I'll show you in a minute. But September obviously started up. I've already, once the travel was done, I was like, hallelujah. So I went ahead and did the Prickly But Cute, the Into the Jungle, and then it was a matter, and I finished off Peace on Earth. And then it was a matter of, all right, I need something I'm going to work on in September, and what I've pulled out is Let Freedom Ring. Because I'm pretty close. So here's where it is, and I've been working on this for the last couple days, and I'll tell you what I've done. But so here's where it is. Here we go. So you can see pretty darn close. All right, so let me fold it, and I'll show you what I've done the last couple days, and then we'll talk about what's left. So in the last couple days, I worked on this section here. Essentially, I backstitched leaves and acorns down here. I've got this one partially backstitched. And then I came up here, and a lot of this, this gray line right here, pretty much everything below that was not done. I had the door and the steps done, but that's about it. So I basically filled in that dark red and the gray, the top of these, they're basement windows. I know there's a word for them, but I cannot remember off the top of my head. And the line of eyelets across there, and that I did the green last night. So in order to finish the stitching on this page right here, all I have to do is replicate this over here, which I'll do today. So that will finish off the stitching on this page. I do have most of the bottom border is backstitched. I haven't backstitched the rest of the building yet. I want to go ahead and finish the building, and then I'll go ahead and backstitch it all. Backstitch on the building doesn't actually take that long because it's just a bunch of straight lines. So it goes pretty quickly. That means that in order to finish this, after I complete what is this page right here, I have two more. This is 2 pages. Can you see? There we go. This is 2 pages, 2 full pages, and then this will be 2 partial pages. I've got 2 more of these to do, and then I've got these trees and the roof started, but these are just partial pages right here. So I'll have 2 full pages and 2 partial pages left to do. With none of them nearly as dense stitching as this page was in the middle, which was this one about kill me. So stretch goal would be end of September. More realistic goal is probably October sometime in order to be done. I do want to get it done so I can take this as well as the other 2 finishes that I've got for framing, because I have to go to the other side of town because my framer that I thought I was losing is still open. So I'm going to take advantage of it, and that's part of the reason that I pulled out Let Freedom Ring. So yeah. So pretty close on that one. So that'll be my September focus, if you will. See, now I'm going to curse myself because I'm going to say this and then I'm going to have no desire to work on it. But I'm hoping that I can hold on to it. I do have another piece identified for October that I want to focus on. So if I don't get it done by the end of September, I may end up just alternating through October, which will take that to the end of October. So okay. So what did I do while I was out of town then if I wasn't stitching? Well, I was knitting. So I started a new pair of socks. I finished another pair of socks. And I find socks extremely easy to travel with. Extremely easy to travel with. So here's my sock. I started this on my trip to Colorado. So this is a twisted 1x1 twisted rib, and then a relatively simple leg, stripes of twisted rib down the sides, and then it's got a short row heel, and which is my first one, and it's okay. And then I'm into the foot part. I'm almost done. I think I need like another ½ an inch, and then I can decrease down for the toe. This is Blue Moon Socks That Rock, lightweight. I think it's lightweight. In Mermaid's Tears. It's got a beautiful gray, purpley color, and the pattern is. Sorry, I gotta look. I can't remember. The pattern is by one of the pattern designers I really like. Louise Tilbrook is the pattern designer. This is on Ravelry. I got this. It's called the Bob Socks. Build on Basics. So she has a basic sock pattern, and then this is essentially the next one. So you can see the row of rib down the leg there. So Louise Tilbrook. Now, I like knitting socks. I like knitting plain socks. I don't necessarily go for super fancy sock. I mean, I have some super fancy sock patterns, but when I'm traveling, I just want something that's just round and round and round and round and knit, because I make good progress, and it's easy to pick up and put down, especially on the plane, and doesn't take up a lot of room. I don't have to keep looking at the pattern, that kind of stuff. So, and I have a lot of friends that like hand knit socks because I can never wear the ones that I make. So this one's already got a home designated. So that was my sock. I'm hoping to have the second sock on the go before I leave for my trip at the end of September. The other thing that I was doing in August was I've been making needle books. This is my first one. Essentially, here's the book. You open it up. It's got felt in the middle, and it's got a pocket. I did add a needle minder, but the pocket's on both sides, right? It's got some batting in it, and this is just craft felt. It's nothing special. I'll put a link below to the pattern. It's a decent pattern, but the puppies like floss. So I can't really leave. I need to be careful how I leave my threads at night, and then if I'm not home during the day and they're out and about because somebody else is home, I have to be careful how I leave them unattended. So that's part of the reason, because this felt will grab, so I can curl up floss and just slap it on here and close the book, and then they can't see it. Now, they have showed a little bit of interest in the book, but I can move the book so that they can't easily get to it. So I made this one, and then of course I made a Halloween one. So here's the inside pocket and the lining fabric, and the lining is the same as the binding with the little scrap of this fabric. Halloween. And then this one is the reverse of my first one, because I cut enough for two at a time usually. Well, the first one I cut enough, so it's the same fabrics. It's just I've got the outside fabric on the inside, and then the inside fabric on the outside on this guy. So I also figured out that this I did a machine bind. I finished the binding on the machine. I prefer hand sewn binding, so these other two got that, and that's how I'll do the rest of them. So like I said, it's a good pattern. You can use just a couple of fat quarters and you'll have enough to do all the bits and pieces if you only want to use two different fabrics. I used 3 fabrics for each of these, simply to, you know, just because that's what I did. The person that posted it very clearly states that it's free for anybody to use, but not to sell the product. So I would not sell these. However, that being said, depends upon, you know, I might actually do them as part of a giveaway maybe in the future. That would be, I think that would be fine. But right now I'm doing a lot of practicing because it's been a while since I've done a lot of sewing, and this requires me to like quilt and crap, and I had to put the walking foot on my machine, and that didn't go well for the first time, but I got it figured out. So I need to practice on a few more. It would be nice to have one with for every active whip, but right now 3 is what I got. So I made those during the month of August, and I can usually put out 2 now in a couple hours. I usually do them on a Saturday morning. All right, so I also shopped a little. So here's what I bought. Not a huge amount. I got this is my September Down Sunshine Lane needle minder. This cute little truck. And then I got this one as well from Down Sunshine Lane. So it's cute. Fiberlicious Floss of the Month. This is August. Let's put that one aside for right now. Put back thing. Justin Ann's Hazel Witch. I don't have any of these, but several of my friends do them, and it's like, it's a witch. I need the witch, so I got this one. I also picked up the Cottage Garden Halloween sampler, which I did not have, surprisingly, and of course it was out of print for a while, so now it came back in, so I bought it when I saw it because I don't want to lose it again. I got the next, hold on, let me take it out of the package. The next hands-on design drum, not the witch one that just came out, but the Live Within Your Harvest, as well as the kit and the pins from Needlecraft Corner. And I'll get the witch one as soon as she gets it. Has it kitted. This one, I don't know what I was looking for, but I spotted it, and I just really, really loved the Spirit of the Southwest from Ursula Michael with all the letters. That will not take long to do with all those letters, and I think what killed me was the fact that it says snowbirds on it, which is definitely a Southwest thing. I know it's also in the Southeast, but definitely a Southwest thing. So I got that, and of course, because No Chart Travels Alone, I went and also ordered Halloween delivery off of my 123 wish list. So I got that. Now, one of the other charts that I've been kind of looking for off and on, and every once in a while would do just a Google search just to see if I could find it or what it was going for, was this one. Long Dog's Cardinal Points. So imagine my surprise when it popped up at an L&S in Canada, Traditional Stitches, which I've ordered from before because I have ordered Legacy linen from them. And I saw it, and it was at a normal price. It says 26. It was not 26. This is Canadian. Anyway, I snapped it up because I thought, oh my gosh, how'd I get? Now then, of course, 2 days later after I'd ordered it, Julie from Gulf Coast Stitches shows it on her FlossTube. I was like, oh, it must have been reissued. Oh well, that's fine. I got it. I just got the chart. I don't know about the threads yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it in the Gentle Arts. I might have to ping Trisha and say, hey, can you do? Yeah, we'll see. We'll check on that. Anyway, so I got it though. So one of my unicorn charts, I guess, off my list. I really don't have. I have one unicorn piece, and that's actually a counter canvas design. The other thing that I've gotten recently, in fact, just like I think yesterday, was the first 3 Cottage Garden samplings, Songbird Garden. So I got number 1, Forever and Ever. I was late to the party on these. Number 2, Merry and Bright, and number 3, Winter's Wisdom. Haven't given any thought. Well, I've given a little bit of thought to Fabric and Threads, but I haven't made any decisions yet. So, the last thing that I got in the mail was from Michelle, Bendy Stitching. When she was going through her recent haul from the estate sale from B, she held up this piece and basically said, "Oh, look, it's a whip. I don't know what it is." Well, I knew exactly what it was. It's Teresa Wensler's Fruit Bell Pull. This is the peach block. So I said it's very well stitched. It's very nicely stitched. It is on Aida, but this particular Teresa Wensler design does not have any fractionals. So the Aida is no big deal for this design. So I pinged her and I said, "Hey, I would love to take that and I'll finish it." So I got it. This is exactly how it came to me. So when I feel like a new start here, I'll get it, pull some DMC. I have the chart. I probably have 3 copies of the chart. I have the chart. But I'll finish it up. So I will always do what I can to keep TW alive, and I won't say alive, TW relevant or current, whatever, and share as much as I can of her designs and continue to share her designs to the stitchers, both old and new. So that's all for stitching content. The last thing is I've been reading. I finished the Warlock Holmes book that I showed in the last thing. That was really entertaining. It was really entertaining. I got the next 2, but I just got them on my Kindle. I didn't buy the hard books. I'm trying to balance the whole Kindle versus real book. As I mentioned, I'm going to an event at the end of September, and it is an author event. And there are at least a dozen authors that are going to be there, of which I think I've read books by 4 of them, or had read 4 of them when I bought the tickets to the event. So I've been trying to actually read some from the other authors. So this has now kind of gone into what my guilty pleasure has been lately. I've been reading some trash. I just gotta say, they are all either romance or paranormally romance, or just paranormal authors as part of this event, which I enjoy. So I've been catching up on some, and I finished a couple. So the first one I finished was Lori Foster's Under Pressure. This is the first in her body armor, so it's bodyguards. It's a bodyguard company. Probably won't read more of this particular series. Might try one of her other ones, but this was okay. The next author I read was Lexi Blake, and this is Ruthless, which is the first of her Lawless trilogy. Lawless is the last name of the main characters. So this was quite good, and I have bought the other 2 on Kindle to read, and I'll take this with me to have signed. And then the third book that's the next on the to read list is Dangerous Highlander by Donna Grant. Shirtless, kilted warrior. What goes, I don't understand. This is really all I need to know to read this book. So, I haven't started it yet. I have, obviously, 3 weeks. I think I ordered a couple of books, or pre-ordered a couple of books to pick up at the event. So this is the only last book that I want to read and finish before we go. So that's it. That's all I got. Like I said, I'll be gone the last weekend in September, so my next update should be the beginning of October, and hopefully I'll have a big finish. But if nothing else, I'll be down to a relatively small amount. At least have a stitching finished, maybe. And then we'll see what other fun things I get up to. I should have at least prickly but cute finished. Like I said, if you have an opinion on the French knots or no French knots, please let me know. I keep going either way. Like I said, adding them in is no big deal. It'll probably take me just as long to French knot the 13 remaining cacti as it will to rip out the 2, because there's white in those designs and I'm going to have to futz with it to get them taken out. So let me know what you think and we'll go from there. So have a great day. Stitch all the things and just enjoy life. Enjoy what you do.